All right, man. So when we look at this matchup, and we look at Georgia Tech, and we look at Virginia Tech. All right. So what's some of the keys in this one? Let's look at Virginia Tech side of things real quick. All right. Now, as I said on SI, right, it's going to be important. Kyron Jones is coming on as of late. 70 plus completion percentage in his last couple of games. He's been firing, right? 14 for 18, 14 for 19. He's been getting it done for them, right? Three interceptions, only three touchdowns, excuse me, and only one interception during that span. So it's important not to let him heat up. I mean, he's taking the reads, he's taking the throws they give him, and then he's giving it off. So he's really come on really since that Miami game when he kind of not necessarily broke out because he was expected to have a great season for Virginia Tech this year, but they've struggled a lot. So since that game, he's really gotten it going. They've been competitive. They started off 2-3. They've won two consecutive games. They look good. So it's gonna be important that they kind of speed him up. They're gonna have to get pressure. Zeke Biggers is gonna have to be a big presence in this game, right? Jordan Vanderberg, Sylvan Ujuin, he's gonna have to be big in this one. The guys got to step up. You know, it's not gonna be easy, but you need your guys to step up in this one, in my humble opinion, and get pressure on him, make him feel uncomfortable, force him into some sacks. He does have a lot of sacks this year. That's what you got to do if you have a chance. Next up is this guy. He's actually a Doak Walker potential finalist, and that's for the best running back in college football. So when we look at all that, he's having a great season, right? He's right behind Amari Hampton in the ACC with 871 rushing yards this year, right? I think Amari Hampton has 901, right? He's top in the nation potentially, with his rushing. I think he's like top five. Tutton has been good. He had his really coming out party against Boston College, 266 yards rushing, three touchdowns. They couldn't stop him. So expect for them to do the same thing. The one thing that Tech might have in their favor, they're probably going to get their linebacker back, but no official word yet. That might be a game time decision. That's Kyle Efert. They're going to need him. Like your linebackers, they struggled in the game against Notre Dame because they could not tackle and wrap up in open space. It was supposed to be 2-3 yard gains on some of the receivers and some of the playmakers out of the backfield, but they was going for more. All right, now when you look at it, Georgia Tech, they don't have the best rushing defense, but they have one of the better rushing defenses in college football. But they're gonna need all their horses, right? This is another test. The good thing too for Tech that nobody knows as well is that this team has faced really good running backs this year, right? They faced Star Wilson out of Duke, right? They faced Amarian Hampton, right, out of UNC, right? Balling up for most of the game, but had a couple big runs, right? When you look at him, obviously playing Tutton is another one. Played last week, played Jeremiah Love out of Notre Dame. Like they've played top end back, so they know what to expect and what to look for. And that's really the offense for Notre Dame is running the football. So they've seen it. They know what it's going to be, but it's going to be important that they wrap up. And I got to give credit to the secondary so far this year. It's played a lot better for Tech for the most part. They're flying around the ball. They got a lot of PBUs. They're getting more interceptions and things like that. That is very important. But it's going to be important they slow this guy down. If he has a big game, good luck, man, because then that just opens up the play action, the passing attack for Kyron Jones. He can, throw it and cook your defense. So that's going to be very important. Now, if you Tech, last thing on Virginia Tech, you got to find a way to block this guy. All right, 11 sacks this season. He's been balling out. He has 2 games this year with 4+ sacks in them. Right, Old Dominion game, he dominated. 2 forced fumbles, a fumble recovery, 4 sacks, 7 tackles. He did nearly the same thing against Boston College last week. Got to find a way to block 52. Pretty good offensive line for Georgia Tech, right? Jordan Williams, Keelan Rutledge, Weston Franklin. Pretty decent offensive line. They're going to have to make sure they block him. You know what I'm saying? So that's going to be crucial. You cannot let him game wreck this game because he definitely can. All right, now when I look at Tech, we just talked about Haynes King injury and my thoughts and my reaction to that. So the key for them, right? Same thing as I said kind of in that video. You got to make Zach Power feel comfortable, right? You got to get him in that 6 to 10, 7 for 10, like that 60 between that 60 and 70% completion percentage, right? And it's more than just smoke screens. Like you can't just run smoke screens all game and expect it to work. Teams are going to tee off and see what you're doing, and they're going to start playing it up more. So a good combination, like early in that game against Notre Dame, they were running different motions, right? Had Eric Singleton on the motion, have him run a short hitch, boom, easy throw for Zach Pyron, right? Having Jamal Haynes run same thing, kind of a motion over and a quick throw out to the flat. Like that's what you're going to need in this game to get him going early. And then you take your deep shots. You got to hit on them though. You know what I'm saying? You got to hit on Eric Singleton Jr. You got to hit on Malik Rutherford. So got to come up with a creative game plan. Got to keep them on the edge. And last thing but not least for Georgia Tech, you got to get the running game going. When you've won this year, the running game has been spectacular, right? It's been one of the top ones in the nation. I think top 15 potentially or top 20 rushing attack. You got to get Jamal Haynes going. I know Trey Cooley's been battling injury. You got Ty Alexander. You got Traylon Maddox. You got Anthony Carey. You got a lot of good backs. So you got to find a way to get it going. Now, early on, it might be tough running up the middle. You might have to try on the edges. You're going to have to see what works in that game, and you're going to have to pick your poison. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be important. But the running game has to get going because it's going to make Pyron's job a lot easier if they're going to pull off this upset. Again, as you guys can see, 65% chance to win. I think 10.5 favorite for VT. I think Georgia Tech covers. I think this game is going to be a lot better than people think. I am taking them. I think I'm the lone one on our staff that's taking Tech to win this one. And I get it. A lot of people are on the edge. But I'll tell y'all what. Tech, I keep saying it, they're on the rise, man. I promise y'all, they're on the rise. They competed in battle with Notre Dame in that first half, man, without their star quarterback, without their signal caller on defense. Okay? They can win a game like this. But again, it's going to be important that they handle those things and making sure that it gets done. You know what I'm saying? So you got to make sure to get power going early, get the running game established, get pressure on the quarterback for drones, create some negative plays and some turnovers, and you feel pretty good. All right, one more Tech update before we wrap this vid. Shout out to Chad Bishop of AJC. He has a story right here, but Ricky Brumfield, the special teams coordinator, is not going to be in attendance. This was broke yesterday, but I think this is very significant. He really recently got a big-time extension. I think before or right after that Syracuse game, this was one of the top units in the country. It struggled, and it struggled a lot. You've had blocked punts. You've had a blocked field goal. You've had people going not a block punt, but a punt return for a touchdown. You've had a blocked field goal. They struggled really a lot last week. You had a couple fake punts, fake field goals. So without him there, it's going to be interesting to see how this unit looks. He is suspended. So I think that's a big key in this game. I mean, we cannot talk about special teams, or we cannot go in the game without talking about special teams. That is very crucial, in my humble opinion. So they got to get this unit together. And when you don't have your star quarterback, what did I talk about last week in my vid? Your complementary pieces have to step up. So it's going to be important that the complementary pieces like special teams, defense, steps up and help uplift Pyron. Like Pyron does his job, offense does his job, but everybody else got to make sure they supplement and be able to do it. So I think that's crucial. I think that's key, in my humble opinion. So we're going to see, man, and we're going to see how Georgia Tech handles that. That's a very big loss, but it's going to be important that they do that. So, yeah, man, that's my thoughts. That's my prediction. I'm going with Tech. Big upset on the road. I could be wrong. But I do like how he's performing as well. Tate Seymour is having a great year. But nonetheless, man, I think it's going to be a big game. It does a lot for your confidence going forward if you can go on the road and be the favorite Virginia Tech without your star quarterback, without your special teams coordinator. That would just talk about the resolve of this team and talk about what Coach Key is really building there with the Yellow Jackets. That would be huge. And they're having a good year. They're 5-3. You just want to continue to stay the course, continue to play at a high level, and continue to perform. That's all you can ask for. So we're going to find out today. I'm going with Tech. Y'all let me know in the comments what you think, who's going to win, and who comes out on top.